you ready to rewind? Take a nostalgia-filled ride back to a simpler time. It's Acid Wash Memories, a retro pop culture celebration. And now your hosts, Joe Murata and Michael Quinn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 53 of Acid Wash Memories, a retro pop culture celebration. Today, we're continuing the Mario journey with Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. I am Joe Murata alongside Player 2, Michael Quinn. How you doing there, Michael?
Hi, I'm Yoshi.
No, not Yoshi.
Yeah.
You are Yoshi?
Yeah, I'm Yoshi.
Oh, you are? Wow.
Yeah, you introduced me wrong.
So, please welcome Yoshi.
I can make the noise.
Folks, thank you for listening to our noise here. We're happy you survived Y2K.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
You made it.
And you made it. So thank you so much for being with us here on Acid Wash Memories for episode number 53. If this happens to be your first time, what we are is a retro pop culture celebration. Each week is a different slice of retro pop culture, and we have 52 other episodes available where, Michael Quinn?
In the archives.
In the archives. So you can find something you like. Last week we did talk about Y2K. Very timely, of course, here in the new year.
It was a very brief episode because it was brief.
Because the whole thing was brief. It was very emblematic.
It was a real rush job to make a story out of it.
It was, but I'll tell you this. The story we've been telling is the Mario series. We started all the way back in the lead up to and including Super Mario 1. We have been going through every single game, most recently the Mario games of 1993, and we're going to pick that up in just a second here. But before we do, we want you to pick us up on Twitter at AWM Podcast and also join our friendly Facebook group. Quinn, it's Home Crap Home.
Yeah, Home Crap Home.
Yeah, it's a fun time over there.
It's a good one.
But go to Acid Wash Memories on Facebook and join the group. We'll let you in. And that is it for the particulars, Quinn. So we've been talking all things Mario for this entire series that we've been doing. And we left off, like I said, in 93, where obviously the biggest success was Super Mario All-Stars.
Right.
That was the focus of our last episode.
Mm-hmm. He's back. He's here. He's Mario. No, he's the new and improved Mario in Super Mario All-Stars.
And it also proved, though, that Mario was still a bankable figure for Nintendo, but it was also clear around this time, Quinn, 93, 94, other systems, particularly Sega, they were providing very hardy competition.
Hardy is the word for it.
Right, with Sonic, and just Sega in general was like a tough-ass competitor for Nintendo.
Of Rage.
Yeah, all sorts of games, right?
Yeah.
The sports games, Sega did much better.
Sports
with
and,
sports.
and like Golden Axe and like all their
tons of stuff.
Arcadey games.
Very arcadey, yes, arcadey.
But they were bringing. But back then, when you brought the arcade home, that was like a big deal.
It was.
That's what people actually wanted for reals.
And if you had the monies, which not a lot of people did, you could get Neo Geo and really bring the arcade home.
Actually bring the arcade. Hey, we didn't even change it.
Right,
that's
exactly.
Neo Geo. You got to pay us like $700, but you can buy it now.
We didn't even change it. It's true, though.
You can start a game in the arcade and finish it at home. Astounding, right?
The reason we're illustrating that is, yes, Mario was still a bankable figure, but it wasn't quite the heyday of 4 or 5 years earlier, right?
Definitely not the hay. There was not a lot of hay.
There was much fewer hay.
The horses had more hay than Mario did at this point.
That's correct. And nay, would Nintendo want to concede that?
Hey, shut up, would you?
So they did release more Mario games. They still use his likeness, but we're going to talk about some Mario games or Mario adjacent games that came out in 94 and 95 before we get to our main event here, which is Yoshi's Island. And the first one I want to mention, because it is related, 1994's Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, Quinn.
Yeah, so weirdly they have made a decision now. You know that Mario Land series? We're just going to give it to Wario. It's just his thing right now.
This is pretty much the crossover.
Yeah, this is it. This is that Mario business. We're not doing that anymore.
And they really didn't. So you play, and I'm sure you guys know this, but if you don't, you play as Wario in Wario Land 3. It's his debut as more of a protagonist anti-hero.
So this is a weird thing that I did not expect as a kid. Wario would just be one of their friends or something later. I mean,
he's not really. He's still a jerk off.
I get it. He's on the heel side.
He's still a heel.
This is to me veering in the territory of Mario Kart, where they're all kind of just friendly rivals. They're not
around.
Really enemies.
I'll accept it.
Everyone, because then it would go when Mario RPG came out, Bowser's on your team. It's okay, what are we doing here?
That is weird, yeah. But the whole point of this game is Wario, in his own selfish, egotistical way, wants to build himself a bigger castle than Mario. So you're basically going on an adventure with him. Mario himself makes a very brief cameo.
I'm the bad guy in Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, where being bad is good and greed is good.
This came out in January of 94 in Japan, March in the United States. But the biggest thing is, this was successful. 5 million units were sold.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing that I feel like is kind of slept on, or at least was slept on back then, now everyone seems to know this fact. I swear the sentiment was like, Game Boy's dead, it looks like old crap, and nobody wants it, right?
Right.
Behind the scenes, it was just like everything sold on it. It was like very successful.
Because it's so playable. It's accessible, right?
People would just buy shit for it.
Right, and it wasn't expensive.
Right, yeah. And it really did sell, like anything that came out on Game Boy was sold generally pretty well.
And this is before it got new life as the Game Boy Color.
Yeah, well, Pokemon is considered like the real, like, even the old Game Boy had that, and it was like, holy moly, like now Game Boy's big again? Like, what's going on here?
Yep, but the Mario series, including this one, which spun off into the Wario Land series, this was still a very hot commodity, and it did sell very well, so we wanted to give a little tip of the cap to Wario there.
I feel like Wario at this point, he's become the, like, Vegeta, whereas Bowser's like the enemy. Vegeta's like the enemy turned good.
Yes, right.
In anime.
It's also something you can order at Taco Bell, right?
Right, yeah, Vegeta.
That's what it is.
Stop it!
In 1994 as well, there was the, we have to cover these as our due diligence.
What am I looking at here? What is this picture?
This is the Mario early years series. Now, these were released on...
Is this part of the, like, Nintendo, like, please don't sue us parents thing? We promise we'll make bullshit.
It is, though, but this is like, well, why don't we just be Sesame Street?
Yeah.
Right?
I see Princess is basically, like...
Teaching.
She's like Nanny from Muppet Babies in this situation.
Now, there were games...
Like, what is happening over there?
There were games on MS-DOS and Super Nintendo.
You picked the one, which is empty.
And they were for preschoolers. There were 3 in this series. There was Fun with Letters, Fun with Numbers, and Preschool Fun. And obviously, I've never played any of these. I was well beyond being in preschool during 94.
Unfortunately, like... See, what's kind of cool about this, if you were, like, of that age... The fact that there was like a Mario game just waiting for you is actually kind of interesting. I wonder people that grew up with this as like their first exposure.
I would like to know if anyone listening has ever played any of the Mario Fun games.
Because they're technically still millennials if they were born for this. Like they were like later millennials.
You could have been born in 92 and been of preschool age during this. Sure. It doesn't really matter. These are
nobody cared.
We just needed to nobody cared. Just needed to mention them.
It is like contractually obligated
pretty much
by Nintendo.
What I also wanted to mention here, because it's tangentially related to Mario, Tetris and Dr. Mario. This is December 94 in North America, July 95 in Europe.
I think this is super cool.
I think it's great, Quinn.
Because here's the thing. First of all, it's Nintendo Tetris, which is the good one.
Oh, yeah, everyone loves Nintendo. Not Tengen?
Not Tengen, not the, like... Have you ever played the one made by Bulletproof Software? The, like, guys who, like... did also make the Nintendo Game Boy one, but they got to make their own because they were the ones that got it out of Russia and like went there and did all the bullshit.
Oh, they actually went there and took it out of Russia?
Yeah, that's like the whole Tetris movie is about, like Bulletproof Software doing it, and then they kind of sold it. That's why they wanted to get it out, because Nintendo was like, we'll give you like a shit ton of money if you do all the legwork, right? So, but like, here's the thing. This is the good Tetris. The Bulletproof Software Tetris is fucking awful.
I've never played it.
It's like you hit left and right to like turn the blocks. It's like all fucked up.
Oh, then
like,
I have played that.
Yeah, it's
some
like
variation of that.
Broken. Yeah, it's terrible.
I know what you mean.
So this is like the good Nintendo one.
Good Tetris.
Yeah, the good one like ported to Super.
Tetris. Dr. Mario. Tetris. Dr. Mario. Tetris. Dr. Mario. Tetris. Dr. Mario.
They're on one game back. Tetris and Dr. Mario. It's twice as insane. Only for Super NES.
So when this game came out, I remember the commercials for it, and I remember renting it once, I think from Blockbuster probably in 95. This is the Nintendo Tetris and Dr. Mario, but what they did is really cool. Much in the vein, Quinn, of Super Mario All-Stars, they reskinned it, they enhanced it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's basically the All-Stars version, and they combine them so you could do, you could play Tetris on its own, you could play Dr. Mario on its own, or you could play either competitively, or there's mixed mode where you can play...
Is there?
Yeah, you can play Dr. Mario while your friend is playing Tetris.
But is it like competitive? So like if he gets lines, do you get like viruses or some shit?
I
And,
don't
like the
know.
other way around?
I'm not going to lie. I don't remember how that interfaces or if you're just going for high score.
Because that's pretty dope if that's like how it works.
I can't remember. But this is the one where I was like, Quinn, why don't you like Dr. Mario? And we were playing emulation. This is the one that you first played.
Is it?
Where you're like, whoa, I love Dr. Mario.
Honestly, I ended up liking the NES one better, but that's just me.
It's the original. Now, also, you might be surprised by this. This was very well received. 6 million copies worldwide.
So that's actually not a surprise because these puzzle games were doing gangbusters back then.
They were busting gangs, baby.
Enough!
Puzzle games are just accessible, I guess, right? And
yeah, you don't need to know anything, and you could be like a mom that's just trying to kill time.
Not that moms have much time to kill, Quinn.
Right, but maybe the kids are out or something. I don't know. Like, it's something to fucking do.
I think there's other things to do than play Tetris.
Well, there's other things. Sometimes you want a break and you want to play Tetris.
I guess it's true. Speaking of puzzle games, in February of 94 in Japan and December of 94 in North America, another Mario adjacent game known as Wario's Woods. Do you remember this one?
I only know this because this holds like the weird distinction of like the last official NES game or something.
You're correct, Quinn. So it was released on Super, but also, yes, December 94 Nintendo Entertainment System game.
Try Wario's Woods, the new action puzzle where stuff's hurling down on you, in on you, and Wario is all over you. Only for Nintendo.
It's not like the last NES game. It just means the last like officially licensed or something.
Yeah, there was shit came out in 95 in the US and later, I think, in Japan. But, well, let me ask you ever play it?
I did, just because out of curiosity of like, what the fuck, why is this the last game?
Not a bad little puzzler.
Yeah. No, it is.
Honestly, you play as Toad.
It's fine.
If you never played it, folks, you play as Toad for reasons. And Wario is in the upper right corner of the screen just looking like an asshole, basically.
Basically.
Because you're in his woods. And
he's
remember,
like, get the fuck out, like, basically.
So he's sending you like fruits and shit, bombs and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's similar to like Yoshi and Yoshi's Cookie. It's like it's Tetris. They're all a variation on Tetris at this point. Birdo makes a cameo. Birdo's a face. Birdo turned face for this game, Quinn.
Now, Birdo's
your helper.
Yeah, now Birdo would later also be primarily face. I feel like in the Mario canon, like in Mario Kart, I'm pretty sure he's on the face side of the roster.
But this is early face for Birdo. 94 face.
I
pretty
find
early.
it odd that Birdo, they just went full face with him. Like, they did not even like...
Well, Birdo's likable.
We don't even regard that Mario 2 business anymore. Like, we don't even mention
Birdo
it.
didn't know what he was doing. It was the whole problem.
He was being tricked or something. Like,
we don't mention it.
Yeah.
So as far as the game itself, it's decent. It's a decent puzzler. It wasn't a big deal. There was not a lot of fanfare. I don't know if there was a commercial or not. But the biggest thing about it, like Quinn said, it was the last officially licensed Nintendo game in the United States.
This doesn't have anything to do with like Metal Slater Glory or anything like that.
That's for Super Nintendo.
Oh, that's the last
2000.
Super Nintendo license.
Don't bring that up on this show.
I always get...
Metal Slater Glory Director's Cut, Quinn.
Sorry, Director's Cut. Some
Of a
game
video game.
nobody played. Like, and it's like it holds the weird distinction of coming out in fucking 2001.
2000.
2000?
Yes, on Super Nintendo.
It's like almost post 9/11 for Super Nintendo. Like, it's insane. Like,
you're right. You're right. Okay. Well, it is 1994 we're still discussing, and we'd be remiss if we did not mention an infamous Mario game released on an odd console in April of 94. But before we even do that, we have to explain the CDI.
Yeah. What a piece of shit, by the way.
Yeah, so we did an episode on CD.
Yeah, CD.
Back in the infancy of this show last year. And we talked about there's different standards. And the CDI, the CD Interactive, was developed by Philips. It's an extension of the CD-ROM standard. It's the green book, Quinn, if you were wondering.
The green, not the red.
It's very green.
First of all, this existing, like, Nintendo being involved in it is like a whole big controversy because they originally were like, no, Sony, you're going to make the CD thing for like Super Nintendo. And then literally, like, without telling them, and they just like went to some trade show and didn't say dick to Sony. They're just like, we're with Philips now. And like Sony's like, grr, we're gonna get you, or
we're
like,
gonna make a best-selling console of all
and that's
time.
like literally why PlayStation exists. Like it would never, like Sony wouldn't have even like thought about making that.
I think
unless they didn't get fucked over.
It's a classic case of Nintendo trying to have its cake and eat it too. It really is.
Like PlayStation was like literal revenge.
Yeah,
like that's like why it was made.
They're like, we're doing this shit ourselves, and fuck you.
Yeah, we're gonna go in your business.
Yeah,
you fuck us over, right?
That's what happened. But anyway, as far as the Green Book standard and the CDI, the CD Interactive, the idea was to combine the CD-ROM, read-only memory, right, with the interactivity of a video game.
Say you're watching TV and this guy says...
It's CDI, friends, the next generation CD player that works with your TV.
And you'd say...
But I have a CD player.
Then your mom says...
No, dear. CDI works with your television.
You'd probably feel pretty dumb and maybe even fake it like you'd already experienced the ultimate in games, movies, music, and more.
So the most famous player of this format, because you remember, it's a CD, right?
Yeah.
Is the Philips CDI 910, which came out in North America in December of 91. Now, check out this price. $799 in 1991 dollars, Quinn. $799 in 2024 is a lot of money.
I'm sure
for
you
a
put
console.
that in the money calculator thing, and we'll tell you what that is.
We probably could, but think about the price points of the other consoles. This is 91. Nintendo had been a couple hundred. Super Nintendo had been a couple hundred at most, right? Genesis.
Now, I want to say this. The one thing you could argue back then is that very, very expensive home theater equipment was about this price.
Yeah,
and I think what they were going for was like you could like watch movies or something on it too.
Well, that's the thing. What they tried to do was promote it as more of a family entertainment interactive. This is all you need. You don't need it.
Like, because if you went to like the department store back in the day, they'd always have like that weird section where there was this bizarre like 50-inch CRT TV that was like way too fucking big.
The guy in the Wiz is trying to sell to you. Remember the guy that had like
to like 1,000 speakers, like and like has all of this like AV stuff, like a receiver and like all this crap, and it's like way too expensive. Like it's CDI, that's where that fits in. It's one of those.
But it's such a narrow market for the people that A, want this thing, and 2, can afford it.
Really, the only people who had this stuff is the guy who had like a full-size satellite dish in his yard.
And probably a car phone.
Yeah.
In his BMW.
Exactly.
Right? Seriously. Yeah. Full size. Yeah, right.
You know the one. Remember
there
was that house in remember there was that house in like East Brunswick that notably had it, and it was like fucking massive. It looked like he was like running an airport out of his backyard. like you would pass it and you'd be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I went to his snack counter actually. It was very expensive.
What?
I'm kidding.
Yeah, ha ha ha.
It's a very expensive console, Douglas. In fact, today it would be about $1,800. That's a big ask, man. It really is. Especially like, who wants this thing? Because it's the hot new thing. Because your kid's like, I want Nintendo. If they don't have a video game system, they're like, I want Super Nintendo.
Well, I guess
Genesis.
Look at it this way.
I'm looking.
If you're CDI and say you take a gamble on this and this succeeds, just say it does.
I'm listening.
You've now just raised the price of basically everything to compete, and you're going to get, your margins are going to be much higher.
Quite a gambit, though.
Yeah.
Because they wind up having to lower the price about $200.
Right, exactly.
to even be somewhat competitive, yeah.
You might expect to pay over $1,000 for an entertainment system that does this much. But now you can own a Magnavox or Philips CDI player starting as low as $299.
Anyway, some accessories for this thing included a mouse, a keyboard, a trackball, a gamepad.
So see, it's like a computer, too. Like, they're doing that
They're doing that whole thing with a keyboard peripheral. A ton of investment went into it, don't get me wrong, but as early... So remember, it came out in December 91. As early as the summer of 93, it was already clear this thing's probably not going to have long-term future.
It's funny how quick the decision comes down from the retailers. It's like, this shit ain't selling, bro.
But because here's the thing. Not only was it expensive... The stuff available on it wasn't really captivating. And not only that, no one needed the damn thing. That's the biggest problem,
weird thing,
Quinn.
too, is, correct me if I'm wrong, but like I feel like Nintendo was like the only like developer that like signed on. It's one thing, like, yeah, Nintendo's the biggest game in town, but when you don't have Capcom or Konami
or Sega
or any of these people like saying like, we're going to make games for this shit, nobody cares.
That's another great point.
So I can go on Genesis and Super Nintendo, and they cost like $150 back then.
Right,
Like,
a fraction of the cost.
And all the games are there.
That's exactly. Hard market to penetrate. And by 1996, Philips all but threw in the towel on this fucking thing. But not before releasing, in April of 1994, Hotel Mario.
Boo!
Guess
Terrible.
what? To really ratchet up the stakes here and really launch this, it's everyone's favorite, a puzzle game.
It's not a bad
Here's
call,
the thing.
right? Like, the puzzle games were a thing.
I get it, but at the same time,
don't you control this with like literally like a TV remote or some shit?
You can, or one of the various add-ons, if you want to. Here's the problem, right? Yeah, puzzle games are accessible and they're all ages and all that. But when people think Mario and launching a console with Mario, how did Game Boy launch? Super Mario Land, right? How did Super Nintendo launch? Super Mario World, regular Nintendo had Super Mario. You don't launch with a puzzler.
No. Not what you...
That's the problem. I mean, it's
maybe
fine.
They were thinking, like, this is CDI. We're not a Nintendo console.
That's
we have
the problem.
other shit.
And Nintendo...
Bubsy or whatever they had.
They don't have Bubsy.
They didn't even have Bubsy. They didn't even have
Couldn't
Gex.
even get Gex or Bubsy, Quinn.
It's like the bottom of the fucking barrel.
Couldn't even get Alex Kidd from Sega.
Yeah.
They're like, no, fuck that guy. Anyway.
Literally, everyone's like, no.
And we're like, we're not doing this.
They went with the 3DO for some of this shit. That's not even that good either.
I know. It really wasn't. At least 3DO had Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Like Road Rash.
It had shit, yeah. Anyway, in this fucking game, players control Mario. And you know what he needs to do? He needs to find Princess Toadstool. And you know how he needs to do that? By going through 7 hotels in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Like doors on a tree. It's horrible.
Yes. Each hotel is divided into these stages. And
it looks like elevator action. Like it literally is like an elevator action ripoff.
And a little bit of Wrecking Crew aesthetic.
Yeah.
You know what the goal is? The objective is to close all of the doors in every stage.
It's literally the opposite of elevator action. Elevator action is you have to go
in the door.
In the doors that are like marked or whatever.
Now, you know what happens if Bill Watts opened the door?
He came through in a shining light.
Exactly.
Bill Watts opened the door and he walked through, brother, and came out of a shining light.
So each hotel ends in a boss fight with one of Bowser's Kooplings making another appearance, and this, of course, culminates in a battle with Bowser.
Did anyone ever make an emulator for this system? Is it even worth it?
I bet you somebody did.
That.
It's a single-screen game, too, which, again, is not doing any favors in 1994. It's just not. It's a single
I thought this was supposed to be so advanced or whatever, like CD and 3D and all this bullshit.
Well, the thing is, yeah, they did that by way of these cutscenes. Now, if you've never heard some of these folks...
Oh, no.
Here's some...
Why did I even ask?
Here's some cutscenes from Hotel Mario.
Why do they look like they have shit in their pants?
Nice of the princess to invite us over for a picnic, eh, Luigi?
Lots of spaghetti.
Luigi!
Stop!
It's from Bowser!
Luigi! Oh, lots of spaghetti!
Anyway, you can look these up.
Why are they already talking about like Italian stereotypes like immediately?
Because that's what they are.
I like a spaghetti.
I like a spaghetti.
It's like, get out of here.
Borat. I like spaghetti.
It's like literally first thing out of Luigi's mouth, spaghetti. It's like, shut up.
Anyway, do you want to know how this game did? Do you want to know?
What, did 6 people have it?
Well, at the time, believe it or not,
I didn't know anybody with this shit. This was the thing that's in that part of EGM where it's like, fill out this like weird crossword thing that's like half filled in and then mail it, and then maybe you'll win it, and like nobody ever won it. You know what I'm talking about? And it comes with like 700 things. It's like, it comes with Super Nintendo, Genesis, 3DO, CDI. It comes with the fucking TV with the gigantic speakers, like more than you would ever need. Like if you won that, you get all this stuff that would make you not play CDI.
Right, exactly. You get a ton of better shit.
Yeah.
Well, at the time, believe it or not, it received mixed reviews, with GamePro stating it was fun but quickly got boring, and EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly, weighed in. They said it was simple yet addictive. However, retrospectively, it is viewed as one of the worst Mario games ever, mainly because the plot involves rescuing Princess and closing doors.
Yeah, but the plot is nobody cares about the plot.
Some people do, apparently. I know you don't. I know.
They're all the same. Rescue the princess. Like, what is there different?
Well, in this one, you close doors.
The most they ever like deviated was like this time Bowser wants to marry the princess. Like, it's like, that's it. Like,
well, sometimes he does, right?
Yeah, like sometimes.
Occasionally, if it strikes his fancy.
Like the last one he did. But then even in the movie, I saw the movie. Now they've retconned that the marrying thing is like the main objective of Bowser. Like they just did that.
I thought he didn't like Mario to begin with. Isn't that his?
He doesn't like him because the princess likes Mario.
Oh,
that's like how they do it. Like,
okay, so it's not like a Popeye situation.
No. It's like Bowser's like, no. Like Princess is my girl, and Princess is like, okay, man, like you're creepy.
I don't know you.
And like
you're a little green.
And like Mario has to like deal with this.
It's a complicated web that they weave, is it not?
Yeah, that's just like their edge on it, like that they've like developed over time. I think that's to make it more digestible because there really was nothing. Before that, there was no reason why Bowser was like getting her.
Kept fucking kidnapping her, right?
Right, yeah. So they finally like wrote in a like his a motive essentially.
Why don't they just move?
Yeah,
it ain't worth it. You know what I mean?
Well, they're not going to move their kingdom because Bowser keeps wanting to marry the princess.
Why don't they just kill Bowser? Why don't they just shoot him with a gun?
Because they're nice.
All right. The other main criticism of this game, believe it or not, of Hotel Mario was the cutscenes and the acting in the cutscenes.
I hope she made lots of spaghetti.
I mean, they're terrible, but
they're really bad. Look them up, folks. They're on YouTube.
Why did Nintendo get in-house people? This is Japan. They can get like anime artists or some crazy.
Nintendo didn't touch this shit.
Like high quality.
You think Miyamoto had dick to do with this game?
Well, not him, but they could get somebody of quality.
He's not wasting any resources on this.
Some of his minions are really good. Like
a lot of them are.
Tezuka or whatever. Like,
Takashi Tezuka, sure.
Yeah, like he could like handle
He's got
this.
better shit to do, man. It's spaghetti.
Yeah,
spaghetti.
By 95, the Super Nintendo, Quinn, was entering its final real year of,
I would say so,
of dominance, of being the Nintendo console.
Like the big PlayStation and the Saturn were on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, Saturn was out in Japan already, came out in the United States early in 1995, which we'll talk about one day.
Started on that.
And PlayStation would come out in the fall of 95.
But I think PlayStation was out in Japan in like December.
Late 94, yeah, I believe you're right. And a new Mario side-scroller. Again, Mario still being the number one, the flag bearer for Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
It hadn't been seen on Super Nintendo since 1991.
In 1990
in Japan,
like
right.
A long time.
Right, half a decade. And all that was about to change, of course, in August of 1995 with... Oh, wait, the Virtual Boy, excuse me.
Oh, fuck.
So, this could be its own episode, folks. We may
Can I just say 94 and 95 in general for Nintendo is like this weird, like, we don't know what we're doing. Like, there's going to be this Ultra 64 thing, but that's like way in the future. Like,
right,
we
so
don't,
future.
So we have to keep the Super going.
And they did admirably.
But also, we're going to like have other crap.
Spaghetti!
They had a lot of other crap.
Yeah.
The Virtual Boy.
Sega was doing the same shit with the 32X. And
yes, they were. Just kept adding on to the Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
The Virtual Boy, for those that don't know, was a purported, alleged virtual reality experience. Now, I don't...
In 1995.
In 95. Now, I
can barely get that going now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know why they insisted upon that, I guess for branding, but it's not virtual reality when you're playing a video game in red.
No.
Like, to me, that's not what anyone ever thought of when they thought virtual reality.
No, they thought you'd be like, be there or whatever.
Right.
Like the holodeck in Star Trek or some shit
exactly.
like that, right? It's like
first person.
Yeah.
Not play tennis in red. And that was the thing. So the Virtual Boy was like...
It was like better R-Zone or something. Like,
well, Quinn, we could make a better R-Zone.
Yeah.
But the Virtual Boy was a red and black, and that's it. Schematic, very depressing looking, very apocalyptic looking.
Yeah.
And you could buy this fucking thing if you were unfortunate enough to, or you do what my brother did and rent it from Blockbuster to try it out and be like, fuck this.
Virtual Boy. See it now in 3D.
You know what I can never understand about it? Like, why didn't that, like, stand thing? Why wasn't it retractable to the point where it could, like, go all the way up so people could, like, sit in a chair and use it rather than, like, the way it was where you had to, like...
Take an eye exam?
But you had to, like, bend on the floor, like, because it was so low.
Yeah,
and,
you look like an asshole.
Bend your neck in this, like, really, like, uncomfortable... Like, it looked uncomfortable, like, in the promotional stuff to, like, use it. Like,
you're totally right, by the way.
I was like, I don't want to sit like that. Like,
no one does.
What the fuck is this?
Now, it did, of course, because it's a Nintendo console, which came out again in the summer of 95. It did have two Mario-related games, Mario Tennis, which is a tennis game. If you've played one, you've played them all, right? And Mario Clash, which is such an unknown title probably for a lot of people with good reason. Essentially,
isn't this known as good or something?
Yeah. So essentially, this is a upgrade, a remake of the original Mario Brothers game, but it's on 2 different planes, so you can go front and back.
So, yeah, my understanding is like it's a really good use of the stereoscopic ability in the Virtual Boy.
Yes.
If you see a picture of it, it looks like shit. But if you were playing it,
right,
it literally looks like the plane in front of you is like detached or something from like Mario in the back. It has like a really cool effect. So like he throws the shell and it looks like it's coming at you towards the enemy that's next to you.
Right, a little tiny bit of virtual reality experience.
Right, it's like kind of a neat idea.
Agreed.
But like, again, it's like no one's going to buy this fucking thing just for this.
No, and in general, people didn't buy the Virtual Boy. Again, this could be its own episode, but the long story short,
this to me is still the problem with virtual reality. Like even the new ones, it's like you have to buy all this shit just for these games that are like different versions of other games. They're like not really, they don't stand out.
Yeah, not too novel. Nothing on this was.
They're all novel, I think is the problem. They are novelties. They're like the Spencer's gifts of video games.
Fart powder of video games, if you will. That gum that turns your mouth blue. Anyway.
I appreciate the technology, like them trying, but you know,
I do
whatever.
too.
Like,
I don't appreciate all the red.
Yeah.
The Kenny Rogers roasters. What's going on here?
That's literally, you can tell it's like, it's way too early for us to be doing this.
Right, because it's monochrome.
Yeah.
It literally is.
What is that, hiccup?
Yeah. It's the wood that makes it good.
The whole console, the whole push for it lasted about a year. Again, it could be its own episode one day in terms of Nintendo failures.
Very weird thing.
Very weird thing.
For Nintendo, too. They're not really like big pushers of technology.
They're not. They just make really good games.
Yeah.
That's what they do. So, since February of 1992, Shigeru Miyamoto, the mastermind behind the Mario series, he was working on the sequel to Super Mario World.
Right.
All right, since early 92. And he wasn't crazy about a game that had been released for Nintendo called Yoshi.
Right.
The puzzle game. He wanted, though, to incorporate Yoshi heavily into this new sequel that he was making.
He was very big into the Yoshi.
Because he saw marketability, I think, and he saw a lot of potential. So he dispatched Shigefumi Hino, who had helped design Super Mario World, the original. And Mr. Hino came up with an idea. Why not have Yoshi be the main character?
He's like the player character.
And what he would do is carry Mario along for the ride this time, kind of flip it, right? But to make sense of why that would be logistically feasible, why Mario wouldn't just fucking walk, they came up with an idea. We're actually going to make this a prequel.
Right.
And Mario's going to be a baby.
So it's young Mario, so
young
he can't
Mario.
walk.
He can. He's a baby. Goo gaga.
Yeah, he's like an actual, just a baby.
Yep.
Like a straight up baby.
Straight up baby.
What, are you using my babies now?
Now, this is all part of the famed R&D, not 1, not 2, not 3, but R&D 4, baby.
The real
deal.
R&D.
The R&D, though, that made all the Mario stuff. And you mentioned him earlier, Takashi Tezuka.
Yeah.
He was involved with
He's
this.
always like, you know, he like still works there.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, like I'm not even kidding.
He was involved with development along with Hideki Kono and Koji Kondo, of course, to do the sound.
Bring him in.
And the newest hire of R&D 4, Hisashi Nogami. Now, we have to make an important point about Nintendo's games and what was going on the 16-bit realm right now. While this game was in development, a sleeper hit was released for the Super Nintendo involving Rare in 1994. I love it. It's a beautiful,
it's a great game.
Gorgeous 2D side-scroller known as Donkey Kong Country.
For our upcoming Donkey Kong Country game, which debuts for the Super NES November 21st.
Why this was like a big deal? Some people might look back and be like, I don't even like, so you weren't around for this, or you didn't have Super Nintendo, or whatever.
What's the big deal?
What the fuck is, like, why was everyone like losing their shit about this? Basically, like, the graphics in it, they were essentially like these scanned in, like they did these 3D models.
Pre-rendered.
But essentially what they did is they kind of imported them as like sprites, I guess. But what it does is it kind of gives this look of like it's 3D, but it's not.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, so it makes the game look way better than like everything else that came before it, right?
It was one of those things that Nintendo knew looked so good that they used it as a selling point of how the Super Nintendo Yeah, we might be entering a new generation.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like a technical shortcut. It's like we'll pre-render it first and then just like paste it into
but
the thing.
It worked, man. I mean, and people went gaga over the graphics. I mean, the game has flaws, don't get me wrong, but I love Donkey Kong Country because
I think the first one's like really good, and I think that's like a big myth that developed on the internet like way after the fact that it's bad.
The controls are a little stiff.
Yeah, they are, but I think it's
beyond that, I think it's good.
I like that it's a little more difficult than the usual Nintendo fare. Like, that's like what I like about it.
And I think the level design's really creative.
Yeah.
I think
the music's good.
The music is awesome.
The underwater music's like unbelievable.
I love the whole soundtrack, Quinn.
Yeah.
And then some of the different power-ups get to ride like different animals and the barrels.
Not to mention the introduction of Diddy Kong. The faster Kong. And just the embellishing of like the Kong.
With
like,
Cranky.
Donkey Kong Country. That game, to me, is what they finally just said, like, Donkey Kong's like his own, like, world or whatever.
Yeah, he spun off into his own thing finally.
I think you'll like this. You got to check out, you got to show your kid the Mario movie. It's on Netflix.
He doesn't want to see it. He doesn't care.
Really?
He's not me.
I think what you would appreciate about it is at one point, you know how, like, the Mushroom Kingdom is like a kingdom within, like, a world or whatever?
Oh, I'm aware.
They've now canonized that the Donkey Kong Country Kingdom is like an adjacent kingdom.
Oh, it's nearby
like,
kingdom.
It's nearby, like you could get to it.
Are they a friendly kingdom?
They're friends.
Good, I'm glad. Anyway, the art style was such a big deal for Donkey Kong Country. And obviously Nintendo is like, well, we got to go this direction, right? And Miyamoto is like, listen, A, we're too far into this shit to redo all the art. 2, how about no? I'm going to go in the opposite direction.
So that, to me, is what makes this game so, and it makes it stand out and makes it hold up. Miyamoto was kind of smart. I think he recognized that what Donkey Kong Country is like a preview of the next generation. But, 10, 20 years from now, it's going to look like dog shit.
It won't be impressive.
Right, it won't be impressive, basically. So why don't we stick with this like drawn art style that we're working on, right? And that's like timeless because like a drawing is a drawing.
And what else?
Like it's not like people's art gets better graphically or something.
You mean the Mona Lisa still looks the same all these years later, right?
And it's still considered good looking.
Yeah, she's a nice lady.
Yeah,
who's the little smile. She's
now they're making her like talk with AI and shit. I don't like it.
How do we know what she sounds like?
I don't know. Maybe the AI eventually will figure that out too. We'll just take a look at her and like her vocal cords would be about this big, so like she would sound like that.
She's an Italian lady, is she not?
Maybe
Mona Lisa. Da Vinci.
But you couldn't put the universal translator on her.
No, I want her to be Italian. I want
Okay.
Italian grandma style.
Spaghetti!
So listen here, with the artwork for this Super Mario World sequel, yeah, Miyamoto not only went with a more classic style, he intentionally went with like a hand-drawn, childlike crayon marker style.
I love it because it fits it, right? Here's the thing, right? Remember how we said it's like the baby Mario? It looks like a child crayoned in like everything, basically.
That's why it's beautiful. It's
like
charming.
It's such a great idea. Honestly, for Super Nintendo, it is graphically impressive because it looks so off the wall.
It's different.
Yeah,
Nothing
looks
looked
so
like that.
different.
Nothing looked like that. And this was actually the handiwork of Hisashi Nagomi, who drew it literally by hand, all these graphics, which they then scanned and they redrew pixel by pixel for Super Nintendo.
It's really good. It's really well
good.
done.
It's one of the standout things about this game.
Yeah.
It didn't just look like Super Mario World.
Yeah.
It looked totally different. Another achievement for this game is that the Super Nintendo had been using very sporadically since 1993 a chip known as the Super FX chip.
So this was originally made for Star Fox to get the like 3D effects done.
Polygons by Argonaut Games.
Right.
What it is a co-processor, we should
Right.
mention.
What Nintendo realized is that you didn't necessarily have to make it 3D. You could have some 3D effects, but like you could use it just to like make the game run better and
Correct.
shit, right? Or fit like bigger sprites and more stuff.
Because you're getting additional processing power.
Exactly. So they said, why don't we use this for that?
And that's what they did. They'd also use it for like Doom and remember Stunt Race
Doom
FX?
needed it,
Doom
man.
needed it.
Doom was like really pushing it.
The only reason it wasn't used more is because it was very expensive.
Right. Because it had to be in every cartridge.
It would have to be, it was literally, the Super Nintendo had little spaces for the add-on part of it, remember?
Yeah.
For the expansion part. It was like a whole thing. But anyway, it would do graphics acceleration, like Quinn said. It's not just 3D. So for this game, Argonaut had developed the new Super FX2 chip.
Yeah, so this is just like a faster version of the FX2 chip.
And
like the next iteration, if you will.
The next generation. What they did here is they use this for additional dynamic rotation and scaling 3D background elements. So here's the deal, right? It was clear with all of this development, with all this difference that was compared to even the first Super Mario World, the plot element, a lot of things were different. Baby Mario. Yes, this was a Mario game in name. But this is not just like a simple sequel to Super Mario World, Quinn. No. I think that's a great point in its favor. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's so dramatically different. And honestly, the higher-ups at Nintendo must have had like a lot of trust in Miyamoto at this point.
Yeah.
If he's like showing this to the higher-ups and being like, this is what we're making, this is what like all this fucking money's going into, right?
Right.
With the Mario franchise, which is like a big franchise. It's like it's their crown jewel, right?
It absolutely is.
And this is like the new mainline game. I can see a lot of people in the room like kind of laughing him out of the like, what is this? It's like a baby with crayon drawing. Like, what is this crap? Like,
that's a great point.
Why are you controlling Yoshi?
That's a great point.
Like, what is this?
We thought this was a Mario game.
Yeah,
why are you
it's
Yoshi?
called Super Mario World 2. We don't get it.
But I mean, Miyamoto had a flair for not sticking within the 9 dots, as they say, with thinking outside the box. And honestly, on paper, the way you just described it, I could see it being a bit of a risk.
Yeah.
Because the video game industry is moving in one direction, and Miyamoto's like, no, I'm going to draw my graphics by hand.
Well, the other thing you have to remember, this is just like the scene at the time, right? Nintendo was doing the Play It Loud, and Sega was doing the like Nintendo's for babies and all this shit. Part of me wonders, Miyamoto's like a really smart guy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're for babies. Why don't we just let literally you play with a baby? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, almost like a fuck you, basically.
Yeah. Well,
like,
it worked if that was the case.
But at the same time, that must have been a pressure for like, they make fun of us for making baby games, and look at this thing.
Well, we're going to have a baby game that's going to kick their ass, right?
No, but I'm saying like maybe the executives.
Oh, wow.
Like they're like, can we really like let him do this? This is a little extreme. Like,
well, in August of 1995 in Japan and October in the United States, the world would find out, and so will you. And that'll be on the other side of this break. When we come back, we'll talk all about Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. We'll break down the very important plot. We'll talk about the gameplay, some of the enemies. All that good stuff is coming up on the other side of this break when more Acid Wash Memories returns.
It's a night of new comedy, Tuesday starting at 8, 7 Central, with the season premiere you've been waiting for. The original Becky's back.
Don't give me that attitude, young lady. You can be replaced.
The season premiere of Roseanne. Then, Life is Good. Tony Danza returns to television with Lori Loughlin on the new series premiere. Hudson Street. And the biggest home improvement ever, how the Taylors spent their summer vacation on Home Improvement's season premiere. Plus,
this is paradise!
Hayden and the gang are loving life in Florida.
It was good while it lasted. Now Luther's found out where we live.
It's an all-new coach and a night of new comedy, Tuesday.
Super Mario is back in action on your Super NES. Yoshi is the focus of this awesome 16-meg game, and it's non-stop action through more than 60 wild levels in Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. The twin Mario babies were being delivered by Stork when they were ambushed, and one of them was kidnapped by the terrible Kamek from the Koopa Kingdom. But baby Mario fell to Yoshi's Island and landed right on Yoshi's back. Now it's up to the Yoshis to reunite baby Mario with his twin and get them back to their parents. Yoshi can even morph into useful vehicles. Yoshi's up to the challenge, and he and his family take turns protecting baby Mario by swallowing up enemies, turning them into eggs, and shooting them right back. It's great animation, graphics, and gameplay with battery backup in Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island.
Dave Thomas had a few things to learn about the taste loved across the Carolinas.
So let me get it straight. The chili and coleslaw go on top of the quarter-pound hamburger.
Yep.
And then I put on the
chopped onions
plus mustard
on a
toasted bun.
That's the way we like it best. Presenting Wendy's Carolina Classic, because Dave couldn't wait to bring you the taste loved across the Carolinas. Just remember the 3 C's.
Chili, coleslaw, chopped onions.
Come try Wendy's Carolina Classic today.
And now we return to more acid-washed memories.
And welcome back to Acid Wash Memories, episode number 53. I am Joe Murata. That is Michael Quinn. Hello there, Michael.
Hi.
Hi. Today we're talking about Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2. We're continuing the Mario series here. the 16-bit era coming to an end, Michael Quinn.
I gotta say though, it's coming to the end with a bang. This is like, to me, this feels like a technical achievement and like a really very different thing. That's kind of like, I really appreciate how different it is.
I think so too. I think it's a really good game, and a lot of people think that. And folks, we're gonna want to know your thoughts. Obviously,
I knew people back then, they liked Mario, but they weren't hardcore Mario, and they liked this game. This was like their favorite.
It's damn good.
That's what's interesting to me. Is like that, like this appealed to like a different kind of Mario fan.
Yeah, it's a damn addictive game too.
Yeah.
Folks, let us know your thoughts on Twitter at AWM Podcast. Join our Facebook group as well if you don't mind. Other than that, we were talking about the build-up to this and the differences in terms of the graphics, even the plot, playing as Yoshi rather than Mario. A lot of high stakes here, Quinn.
Yep.
Because as we were talking, Nintendo did have the market rep, especially Sega promoting that. This is the baby's toy.
Yeah.
We do hard-hitting, kick you in the dick type stuff over here.
They are literally giving you a baby Mario.
And you're getting a baby Mario in a crayon graphic,
it's drawn
right?
in crayon. Yes.
Yeah, like it's the kids menu video game, right? But it did come out, obviously, in August of 95 in Japan, October of 95 in North America. I remember a fair amount of hype in terms of there was a TV commercial with like a big fat guy eating or something. It was really weird.
Yeah, because I think like one of the first bosses is a big fat guy. Yeah, it's something like that.
And I remember there being some hype in Nintendo Power, obviously, and the video game periodicals of the time. But I'm not going to lie. By the fall of 95, when this was coming out, I wasn't thinking Mario anymore. I wasn't really that excited because I had been playing Mortal Kombat 3.
Right.
And the previous. I was still playing Super Street Fighter 2.
Well, I think one of the things when this game came out see, here's the thing is I don't think I had much access to it till like early 96 is my memory. Like somebody else got it. But what I do remember is my friend was one of the first people to get a PlayStation.
There you go.
And I had fun.
Right around this time.
I had played it. He had it like really early.
Right.
Like, and we were playing like Twisted Metal on it and stuff. And like, I was like, this is amazing. Like, right. And so I was like, I was just about done with Super. I was like, when can I get like a PlayStation or when's the Nintendo version of this coming out?
Sure.
Right. Like, that's what I was thinking.
And I'm sure that's a lot of people. I mean, I was 10 years old. You were 9 years old during this time when this came out. If it had been 2 years earlier, I would have been all over that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But in 94, in like the prime 93? Of like Super Nintendo.
My God, yeah.
Like this would have been like the biggest shit.
But I'm not going to lie. I wasn't really that excited. Plus, I had played Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah.
And I loved the shit out of that. Someone had given me Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball.
That shit was amazing.
And I played that all the time. I also, WrestleMania the arcade game was coming out. I was a big WWF fan. So I just wasn't thinking Mario.
But I'll tell you this. How did I actually get exposed to this game?
How did you?
My friend, who was like a year younger than me.
Shaw?
Yeah, so he always got stuff because, like, obviously his parents are like, you're not as old as him and, like, you're not going to be as interested in the same things he's interested in, like me. So he finally gets a Super Nintendo, right? And guess
95?
Yeah, and guess what his pack-in was?
Yoshi's Island?
Yes. And that's how I played this game.
Oh, wow.
And then, like, after he was done with it, I borrowed it from him, and I was like, this is amazing.
It is.
Yeah, it was, like, so good.
So we're going to talk about it now, folks, and we, again, want to hear your stories. So we got to talk about the plot, Quinn, your favorite element.
The plot.
So this takes place, as we said, while Mario and thus Luigi are in their infancy, little babies wearing diapers. And what happened was a stork was about to deliver these newborn twins.
Can I just say I love that in Mario World or Land or whatever, that babies are born via the stork.
Yeah, well,
like that's the canon.
They're also twins in this, but I thought they weren't.
Why can't they be twins? They look very similar. Just one's taller. Like, I mean, that's just a quirk of genetics. Maybe they're fraternal twins, Joe.
They could be fraternal.
Yeah.
You know, the Olsens aren't identical, so there you go.
So there you go. Yeah, one could be taller than the other. That's not, like, crazy or anything.
Sorry. The stork got ambushed on the way to the delivery by Kamek.
Yeah, it's weird that Kamek is like the fucking guy in this, right?
Care anyway.
Well, because also Bowser's like a baby because they're, remember, the same age or whatever.
I didn't know that until this game that they were the same age. You would think Bowser's an older gentleman. So
if this is a prequel, Bowser's also a kid.
Great, more babies, my favorite. So anyway, while Kamek...
Weirdly Kamek, because Kamek gets interpreted as, oh, he was the old one all along, right?
Can I just say something about Kamek? he can fuck off.
He's a real piece of shit.
Yeah,
I don't like him.
saying.
You kind of get the impression that he's like been pushing Bowser to be bad all along.
Right, like if he hadn't intervened, Bowser would be nice.
Yeah.
Like, hi, Mario. Spaghetti!
Yeah.
Anyway.
They all eat spaghetti together.
They all eat their spaghetti. While Kamek was successful, he captured baby Luigi and the stork. He put him in Bowser's castle. Baby Mario escaped or fell into the water. And you know where he landed? On Yoshi's back.
Aww.
On a Yoshi's back.
It is, the whole intro is like very cute.
It is charming.
It is super charming. And there's even like this music. It's like, like they like walk out in like the forest or whatever. And
It is
it's like,
very cute.
It's very like, it's like, and Yoshi's like, I gotta get him back or whatever. Like he's gotta get him back to the stork or whatever.
It's so cute. So the Yoshis discover him. The Yoshis are a species, by the way. It's not just one dinosaur.
Yeah, so again, part of the whole intro of the game is like very good, right? It's like, remember all the
It's basically
Yoshi.
the Fresh Prince intro. Gives you all the exposition.
It's kind of like, honestly, it reminds me of like the Jungle Book or something. Like, it's like, you know, like where like all the animals, they like find a human and they're like, but he's only a baby. And they're like, we got to raise him, right? And it's like they all like team up.
Bare
but in this case, the Yoshis are all like, oh, we can't he's just a little baby.
Look at him.
We can't let anything happen to him. And we got to get him back to wherever he's supposed to be. So like,
So they try their best, right?
So what's interesting about this is that this is what I love about it, right? And this is like the first little quirk of this game. Essentially, like the Yoshis are doing a relay through each section of Yoshi's island.
Correct.
To get him off the island. So essentially, every level, a different Yoshi is tasked with getting Mario through it. And they're denoted by the different colors. So the first Yoshi is like the regular green Yoshi.
Green one, yeah.
But then as the levels move along, like a different Yoshi's in charge of getting him through that one.
It's actually really cute.
Yeah.
The point is, they're trying to get him. Kamek has figured it out, by the way, that he doesn't have baby Mario. So he dispatched his goons, which are known as toadies, which is great, to kidnap him. So basically, Mario needs to get where he needs to go. We also got to rescue Luigi. Of course we do.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to get both of them back.
That fucking menstrual cramp that he is. Anyway.
Imagine if they'd said, fuck it, we'll just get Mario. And then Luigi, became evil and they didn't even need, Waluigi or anything.
Don't bring up Waluigi on this program, Quinn. It's a little too early for that.
He's coming, Joe.
Don't.
He's coming.
So anyway.
I think he's coming, soon, too, because he's, in the N64 era in, the tennis game or something.
More tennis. Great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the gameplay a little bit, because it is different. It's much different. And that's one of the things here. Miyamoto has been very good in our canon that we've done here, the Mario canon, of taking core components of gameplay and changing them little by little each time, right?
This is so dramatic. This is
That's what I was going to say.
This is its own thing. It's very different.
It's very different. One of the biggest things, and this is subtle, people might not even think of it, there's no time limits in the stages.
Yeah, I never thought of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most people don't, but there's no time limit.
I wonder if that's what attributed to, because this game became a big early on speedrun game.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe because of the no time limits, people figured, well, we can look, we have time to look for secrets and shortcuts and shit.
Right. So outside of Super Mario Bros. 2, which as we covered was really not originally a Mario game, this is the first side-scrolling Mario game to not give you a clock that you're up against.
I kind of like that.
I kind of like it too. It gives you
the levels are so big too. It's like you don't need a clock here. It's like a lot. There's a lot of secrets.
Yeah, a lot of secrets. The stages too are more puzzle-y.
I find them organic discovery.
Okay,
there's a lot of just look around and I could go that way or I could go that way, and
sure.
I don't know if it might be a dead end over there or there might be a secret, or sometimes I might get turned into a vehicle. I don't know. There's always different paths in the same level.
I like the way you put that.
Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts when we got to explain this? The egg-based system.
This is one of my favorite parts.
Okay.
Okay. So what this is, right? Essentially, anytime Yoshi eats something, but it's not all things. I think if he eats spinies or something, he can't make eggs out of them. But it's some shit like that. Basically, most shit. When Yoshi eats something, you can either spit it out like normal Yoshi in Mario World, and it'll fly at them as an offensive attack.
Yep.
But the more useful thing you can do is you can hit down, and Yoshi will make them into an egg.
Yes.
And the eggs will follow him. And I think Yoshi has a max of 8 eggs or something.
6
or 8.
Something
like that, right? But what's cool is if you hit the A button, all of a sudden an aimer will come on the screen, right? basically wait till the aim is the direction you want to go, and you throw it. Not only is it like it will hit something, but you can bank it off walls and stuff.
Yep.
To like sometimes it'll be like a weird angle, and like you'll have to bank shot it, and there's something that you can't get unless you bank shot it.
Yep.
And this creates like every stage is like full of this like wild stuff that you have to like do with the bank shots.
Yep.
It is so cool, right?
It is. It's a great gameplay element, Quinn.
Right, yeah.
It really is, because it takes the basic idea of like, oh, projectile.
Right.
But now you're using it to clear stages,
Sometimes
to
it's to
unlock
take
stuff.
out an enemy to open
Yeah.
like a door, but other times it's literally like there's collectibles in each stage. Sometimes you can't get those like sunflower things
Yeah.
without doing that.
Yep.
It is so cool.
Those sunflower things, by the way, have basically replaced the Yoshi coin from Super Mario World.
Right. But like,
for the record.
so this is another thing, I guess, while we're here. Every stage has 3 like objectives. You have to get the 5 sunflowers. You have to get the 25 red coins.
Okay.
The way they're hidden is weird. Like sometimes they're like under stuff. Sometimes you have to like mash the ground. There's all sorts of like ways to find them. And then the last thing is you have to make sure your countdown timer on Mario is up to 30 seconds. It's not like that at first. So like when you come into the stage, it's like at 15. And to up the timer, you have to get little starmen.
Yeah, little tiny starmen.
That you get by like killing stuff when you have your timer at max. If you kill certain things, they'll spit out more time.
It's great. One of the things, too, about this, it's very interesting. Again, very different. If you remember from Super Mario World, Mario, if he's riding Yoshi and he gets hit with something, Yoshi will leave.
Right.
He'll run away. In this game, you're playing as Yoshi, right? You're technically controlling Yoshi. Mario's like on his back backwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yoshi really doesn't take much damage. What happens is Mario will like fall off of him.
Yeah. And he'll get encased in a bubble.
In a bubble.
Right.
And you will hear a very annoying cry. And then
your timer starts to go down.
And then you can shoot the egg to get him back, right?
You can. Yes, that's
one
one
of the ways.
option. The other thing is what makes it even more annoying. When the clock hits like certain intervals, like 15, 10 seconds, it'll go like a really loud like alert noise, and it's like, oh, shut up! like at 5 seconds,
it does get annoying.
It's like, oh my god! Like, and if he like starts to get really far away, and you're like, oh come on, and like all these noises are like attacking you, right?
At that point, you're like, this fucking kid. What am I doing this
like
for?
The kid won't shut up. The alarm won't stop going. Like everyone seems to want to hit you suddenly.
I'll tell you what, they gave a pretty accurate depiction of what it's like to have a newborn. So this fucking kid's crying, everything's going wrong.
It's like a fucking natural disaster if this kid gets lost for like even 2 seconds.
Just like real life.
Yeah.
At its core, though, it still is a 2D platformer. Let's not get it wrong here. You still run, you jump, you eat shit with your tongue. Like, at its core, though, Quinn, it's still a platformer.
Okay, from the platforming aspect, there's some introduced things. Obviously, Yoshi still has the eating mechanic.
He's still Yoshi.
But now he has a down like butt sit thing, which Mario would like gain later.
Yeah, the
in
butt
64.
Sit. The butt sit.
That like so basically like he can use that. There's certain things that, especially to get red coins, this is really useful for.
Yeah, it's like a sumo squat.
There'll be like poles.
Yes.
And if Yoshi butt sits on them, they'll like go down, and sometimes you have to put them all the way to the bottom, and then there's a red coin.
Yeah.
Like it's shit like that.
It's a forceful jump down, basically, is what it is.
Yeah, it's like a butt slam.
Butt sit.
I think that's the name for it.
Vader bomb.
Anyway, the other one this is the huge one in this game. This has like a little weird physics or something to it that a lot of people spent a lot of time figuring out how it all works.
Yeah.
But basically, when you jump, if you hold jump in midair, Yoshi will he'll do this thing where he'll hold his breath and he'll kick his feet.
The flutter jump, they call it.
And he'll go up a little bit, right? But this has some weird manipulation to it that I've seen people do stuff where you can if you know how to do it, you can do it like infinitely, but it's not like the fly in Mario World where like you can't, like it's made to be done infinitely. This thing is like explicitly trying not to make it be done infinitely, but people have like figured out things.
You have to be very crafty to do so, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It takes like a lot of skill to figure out how to work it.
Like they don't want you to do this,
Yeah,
right?
the game's like actively like fighting you. Like, no, you're not supposed to do this, but there's like ways.
Similar to jumping over the flagpole in Super Mario 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you're like, no, you're not supposed to do this, right?
You can't break the game, which is interesting
That's
with
good.
it, even with the infinite fly or whatever. But like people
fly.
have figured out how to get across certain chasms to get certain
chasms
things.
as well, yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, it's a very... I think that makes this game very interesting from like a retrospective way as far as like a skill-based game.
I like that, Quinn. Some other things about the game. The levels, unlike Super Mario World and somewhat Super Mario 3, you have to play them linearly.
Yeah.
But there's no world map where you can go where you want in this game.
So yeah, the way it's done is like, it's kind of like I said, where it's like a relay.
Yeah.
That's like a thematic thing where it's like Yoshi's passing him off.
Right. Yeah. It actually fits into the plot.
Right. It's like, no. Like you can go back, but you can't like go in multi-direction.
Skip around.
Yeah, exactly. Because after each one on the map, it shows like, okay, I've passed him along, and then it literally shows the little Yoshi
like
who was in charge. And I said it wrong. It's not the whole level. It's just like each level, like one Yoshi in it. So it's like a total of like 10 Yoshis
or 8 or
that
something.
are taking turns each level.
Yes.
Like passing them on. So like yellow Yoshi will pass him to red Yoshi like on the map, and he'll be like wave goodbye.
It's real.
It's so cute, right? It's like whoop, and then it's like, okay, you better get him past the next one.
Have a nice trip. Bring me back something fresh.
Well, because then yellow Yoshi will meet you at the later on in the game. But like, yeah,
he'll be coming for you if you didn't do your job right. This does take place on Yoshi's Island, but obviously it's earlier. It seems a lot larger than the Yoshi's Island we see in Super Mario World. Do you think they lost land in a dispute or something, Quinn? What do you think happened here?
Maybe Bowser was like only in certain parts, so you only had to get rid of him in certain parts in World.
Oh, so they didn't focus on all of Yoshi's Island? Okay, that's fair enough. The levels have all these individual names. And what I mean is, whereas in Super Mario World, you have like Chocolate Island, Donut Plains, Vanilla Dome, and in Super Mario 3, you have what? Big Island and the sky and all that. In this, there's no world names, but each stage you play, each level, has a name like Make Eggs, Throw Eggs.
So it's a theme rather than a level like 1-1.
Yeah, it's like Jeopardy clues.
So the idea is actually, I love the names because the names to me, no, but I think they're cool because they always give you like a clue of like what the level's going to be about before you play it.
Like Touch Fuzzy Get Dizzy.
Well, that one's like a big clue because that's the first... Touch Fuzzy Gets Dizzy is a famous one in the game because that's the first one where they explain to you what the fuzzies even do.
These sound like really good albums. Poochie Ain't Stupid, Flip Cards, The Baseball Boys, What's Gusty Taste Like?
Yeah,
Your Booze Fort.
They're all like really cute and funny and like...
Your favorite, Watch Out for Lakitu.
Yeah, they're all weirdly informative, like oddly, like they're actually describing something in the level.
For the most part, they actually are, like jamming through the trees. Some of these sound like songs, Quinn.
Yeah.
The Cave of Harry Hedgehog. That sounds like songs.
It's good.
Go, Mario, go. The Cave of the Lakitus, Don't Look Back. Marching Melodies Fort.
They're even playful with just like letters, like for example, like they'll just be capitalized Blizzard.
Yeah, you're right.
Like they're very like playful and cute, and each level also has like bonus levels.
Yes, there are bonus levels in all of them, which are a lot of fun, by the way.
Yeah.
The bonus games are good.
There's bonus games. There's bonus like what they're. I mean, is like there's unlockable bonus like they're extra levels.
Oh yeah, just bonus levels.
And that you only get after completing the objectives in each of the basic levels.
Yep. Another thing we mentioned, we might as well cover it now, is that you relay as Yoshi, right? So let's just cover that so everyone knows. Mm-hmm. So you start as Green Yoshi, which you play in the first level and all the little extra ones that Quinn was just saying. You also play as Green Yoshi in the mini battles and in Bowser's Castle,
right? The final one, because he's Green Yoshi's main Yoshi, so he has to like for the boss battles. Like, come on.
Can I ask though, why does Bowser have a castle when he's a baby?
Well,
we didn't think this through, did we?
Maybe it's Bowser Senior and Connect.
There's no Mr. Bowser, is there?
I don't know.
I don't want to know. Anyway, Green Yoshi hands off to Pink Yoshi for the second levels.
Mm-hmm.
And then the debut of Light Blue Yoshi
There he
as well.
is.
Light Blue. And then Yellow, who is returning Yoshi.
He's from another one.
Yep. Then Purple, brand new grape flavored Yoshi.
They had to make new colors because literally they only had like 3 before.
I know.
There was like no alternative here.
I like this one. This is very M&M's. Brown Yoshi.
Just brown Yoshi, yes.
Then Red Yoshi
Are
returning.
they M&M colored? Are these just the colors of M&M's? Actually, now that I think of it. Like, is that what this is?
kind of, yeah. Except for orange, yeah. And then brown goes to red, and red goes to blue, who plays the castles, but not King Bowser's, obviously, because that's reserved for the green one. There's also powers. Now, by powers, I mean, Quinn mentioned briefly that you can turn into like a vehicle.
Right.
Remember that? So we need to cover the vehicles that you can turn into.
This vehicle shit is so cool, by the way. I love it.
I love the vehicles too, Quinn. They're great. So here's what we got. We have a helicopter.
Yep. The helicopter's like the first one.
The first one.
It's actually like the coolest one in my opinion.
Why?
It's like you're very mobile. Like you can like
well, flight, yes.
You make these like, but the way the turns work and the physics and everything, it's like very I don't think there's been anything like it in a Mario game.
Well, Land had like the Sky Pop.
Yeah, but it's like it's the way it controls it. It controls like a real helicopter where it like dips or whatever, like when you go straight, and the turns has this like flutter. Like
he's doing hand motions, folks.
It's
he's
just
so
really,
into
it's
this
just
right
really
now.
Cool how they made the vehicles to me. I think they're very neat.
What I like it is how stupid Yoshi looks when he transforms.
Yeah, he does look silly.
There's the mole tank, which you tunnel basically.
Now I never like this one.
Why not? Inconvenient.
I don't like how like when you go down and then try to like turn, and sometimes you go like backwards and upside down, and it's like all fucking weird. I never liked it.
Okay. What about the submarine, Quinn?
It's like rare. Like you barely ever use it.
It's a water one, obviously.
Yeah.
You know what a submarine is. Train?
A lot of the puzzles are like just the helicopter, like most of them.
Most of them are. What about the train?
The train is actually like super creative in my opinion, because is essentially there's a kid or whoever has drawn train tracks like on the walls.
Yeah, in the background.
Like you have to like direct the train to get enough speed so it can make it to the next wall and like kind of fall on the drawn tracks.
It's pretty good, Quinn.
That one's like really creative.
That's some Donkey Kong Country type innovation, though.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. Yeah, the train is really cool.
And what about what they call a vehicle? It's
I like this. I like this because the idea of it is that it can't jump.
Correct.
It has no airborne. Even the train sort of jumps from track to track.
Right.
This can't jump, but to counteract that, the wheels, it's almost like a clown car. They like raise up.
Right,
and you can like go over stuff. The wheels can drive right over somebody because it has like stilts or something.
It's silly. Yeah, I like it. There's also a couple of things that we should mention. Mario himself, little baby Mario.
Right.
He has a power-up known as Powerful Mario.
Yeah, so this is, again, another cute thing. So basically,
you get a star.
It's like the star. So a variation of the star theme in Yoshi way starts to play, and he gets a little cape, and suddenly he can walk.
Where does the
run.
cape come from, though?
He's Super Mario. That's where it comes from.
I love it because he can walk. Yeah, like he can actually walk.
He can walk now, and he doesn't bitch about stuff, and he just storms through fucking everything. Like he tears house, and there's some parts where you have to they give you almost like Powerful Mario is like a vehicle.
Right.
It's the same kind of thing where it's like, no, you have to get through this part and get to the other side with Powerful Mario and then activate Yoshi again.
See, I got an 11-month-old. Maybe I can get a superstar and he'll start walking.
Yeah, Powerful Mario.
Powerful Mario.
Now, the other one, the last one, Ski Yoshi, is great.
Yeah, because it's ski.
Yeah, so first of all, what's really cute is Yoshi gets a scarf and Mario gets a little ski cap.
Well, it's cold.
And Yoshi has skis and they're just going down. It's great.
What I like it is there's no need for it to be that involved. Mm-hmm. You know what? They don't. That's why I love Nintendo sometimes. You don't need to have all that.
All these are just reasons to do stuff.
Right.
It's well, we wanted a level where you skied. Well, we have to make there be somewhat of a reason why.
He did, at least in pre-sentences anyway. Yeah, exactly. Now, normally, folks, we talk about all the bosses.
There's far too much stuff
all
in
the
this
enemies.
Game. Yeah, this is a kind of insane.
There's too many, folks. And honestly, we would just be reading a long-ass list and boring you. But I do want to mention a couple. Aqua Lakitu, yes.
Stop. We don't need that.
What about this? Baron von Zeppelin. Balloons. But
There's a lot of crazy ones in here, though, right?
I like Beach Koopa because they're just like hanging out with no shells.
There's also the fact that Shy Guy takes prominence as like the main. There's really no Koopa Troopas. Like Shy Guys are like the main ones.
And you know what's interesting about that? I'm glad you did bring up Shy Guy. He was a Super Mario 2 enemy.
Right, but in Yoshi's Island, he's like infecting the place or something.
So
like they are everywhere.
He's canonized.
Yeah.
You know how the fan cannon, the fanon, as they say, is what that is?
Yeah.
Is since Baby Mario was around them, that's why he dreamed of them for Super Mario 2.
Oh, that's fan canon.
It's fan canon, but it's good, isn't it? Fan can. I kind of like it. By the way, Boo makes a return.
Yeah, there's a lot of Boo in this.
Boo Blah, by the way.
There's also another main enemy in this that I remember very notably is those dudes that from Super Mario 2 that fly with the like little forks.
Oh, Pidgeot?
Is that what he is? He's like all over this game.
I think so. We'll find out. Bullet Bill is back. Now, there's some like big dumb Cactus Jack. There's some big dumb shit like Cage Ghost looks like an idiot.
Yeah.
That's
like the blobby one.
The blobby one. Chain Chomp. You know, a lot of stuff that you guys would, but there's a lot of new ones. Fat Guy. I'm not making that up. It's
just Shy Guy, just fat. That's all it is.
Oh, nice. Fishing Lakitu returns.
The thing that's notable with a lot of these enemies,
besides Gargantua Blarg, yes.
Yeah. There's certain ones that are like the regular ones, right? And you know how I'm judging that off of?
What?
One of the gameplay things they have to do in this game,
yes.
if you notice, remember there's certain points where they're like, you need eggs. Like you can't do anything.
You fucking have the eggs.
So suddenly, for no reason, inexplicably, there'll be like pipes that just the same enemies come out like over and over again.
Yeah.
And they're literally there just to refill your eggs.
Yeah.
And if you ever notice, they're only the like main like 3 enemies.
Well,
like,
yeah. You're right. Now, can we please talk about
like what's the other one? The little like clamper guys. Like they're like fucking everywhere.
They're not toadies, are there? Is that what you mean?
No, they're little white.
Oh, I know who you mean.
You know what I'm talking about? Like they're like little white, like Pac-Man looking things.
I know what you mean. We talk about Gargantua Blog though.
Yeah, what's wrong with
Blarg?
He's back
because they were so proud of their Super FX2 chips. So some of these enemies, like that one, and like Incoming Chomp, they do like the rotating scaling. Like,
oh, right.
That's why I'm talking about them.
Yeah, so Incoming Chomp is one of the first ones, actually, because in the second level, he starts like coming from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Like, almost like killing you. It's like insane.
And it's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, calm down.
And he like takes out huge swaths of like the floor. Like, it's like, well, what the hell, man?
There's also, I need to mention this, Hootie the Bluefish.
Stop.
Sorry. Again, there's a lot. There's Kaboomba, which is cannon that shoots cannonballs. Kamek, obviously.
Lantern Ghost is another one that was like way too many of him.
Lantern Ghost,
he's like one of the main, like he's fucking everywhere.
Lungefish, get it? Well, instead of lung. There's also Nepinut, which is kind of like
Nipper plant. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, Nipper.
They're everywhere, those fucking things.
Nipper plants. They're in Super Mario 3 even.
Yeah, Nipper Spore, which is like the fuzzy. The one that gets you high. Can we talk about that? That's another effect.
Yeah, that's a Super FX2 thing also, the poisonous mushroom, so to speak.
So the
LSD, it's drugs.
Yeah, so Touch Fuzzy Gets Dizzy is the first one.
Correcto.
Right? And so Nipper Spore, as it's called.
That's your language.
They're kind of like coming out in different spots all over the stage, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
And when you first touch it, what's interesting is like it doesn't hurt you. You don't like spin out. Mario doesn't like come off you or anything, right?
Right.
But suddenly you start to notice I'm hitting forward, but it looks like it's almost like I'm going like 2 steps extra forward when I hit forward. Like it feels like my body's heavy.
You get the fuck high.
And then if you touch another one, the stage starts moving and like gets all weird.
It's all
and
real.
Like the more you touch more and more and more, like I remember when we first did it because we just thought it was funny because it doesn't actually like take Mario off your back.
Correct.
We were like, how
high can you get?
Yeah, like how ridiculous does this get? And it's just like at some point you just like literally like barely move. I think he just like stop. I think he just like passes out at one point. He just stops.
Does he? I don't remember. I've never gotten that high.
But yeah.
Don't do drugs. Stay in school, kids. Shy Guy on Stilts is a very cute one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Because there's no need for it.
It's stupid.
What about, again, we're talking about the Super FX2 slime, just that big ass thing.
This one goes into like a million pieces though when you do the butt slam on it. It's good.
The butt slam, yes.
Yeah, that's another Super FX effect.
It is. Yeah. A lot of these are. A lot of the enemies are designed for that. There's Tap Tap the Golden. Remember that?
I don't remember this guy.
That's good. What about The piranhas have returned, and wild patooey piranhas as well.
Yeah,
Very
so
good.
one thing that they use the piranhas for, I feel, is to teach you how to use the egg. The egg. Because the only way to beat the piranhas is the egg. Literally, they're like immune to everything.
Can't even eat them?
Yeah, you can do nothing but throw the egg at them.
Sometimes you got to throw an egg. There's some boss characters. We'll talk about them. So in World 1, we've got Bert the Bashful. Quinn, this is used a lot in the commercials for the game.
So, first of all, I just want one notable thing about all of them. A lot of the gimmicks with all of them is that they're super duper scaled, like overly scaled, like we're really using the FX chip on them.
They're
like if
very
you notice,
proud.
Like, a lot of them are like way big. They're blobby. They're like misshapen, and they don't.
Yeah.
Like, and that's to show off the scaling.
100% what it's
Right,
for. They're
yeah.
using the Super FX2 chip.
Yeah.
So Bert the Bashful almost reminds me of like King Hippo or something.
Right. So this one is another you can only use your egg, and you keep shooting him, and you're kind of in a square.
Yeah.
And you have to keep kind of banking it off to hit him, because you can hit him multiple times off a bank.
You have to hit him a lot of times.
Yeah, and he just keeps getting smaller and smaller. Or no, he keeps getting fatter and fatter and fatter.
Yeah.
Until his pants break.
That's what the commercial's based on.
His pants break, he gets bashful, and he just leaves.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. He's sad that his pants broke.
Yeah.
It's very much like King Hippo, like I said. There's also Salvo the Slime.
This one was cool, in my opinion, because this is the one that gets, like, he turns into a zillion million pieces.
Yep. In World 2, you get Bigger Boo and Roger the Potted Ghost.
This boss is super cool.
He's a pain in the ass.
Because remember, you have to hit him, and then you have to like knock the pot off the thing and like break it.
Flower pot on his head.
He's like a genie ghost.
He is. In World 3, you have Froggy.
What again? So you end up in this thing's fucking like throat.
Yeah, it's so creepy.
But what's weird about it, when you go on the corners, the sides like stretch like a real esophagus.
Just like a real esophagus.
Like it's actually like fleshy or
That's
whatever.
what we were
It's
waiting
disgusting.
for in the Mario series here. That should have been in the Mario Fun with Preschool game.
It feels cruel to hit him in like the throat like this with an egg.
He's trying to kill you. It's not that cruel.
He's trying to digest you.
That's not
He's
good.
already eaten you.
He's not nice. Can we just put it that way?
Yeah.
And there's also Naval Piranha in that world as well, World 3. In World 4, you get Marching Mildy.
This is just another rehash of like
of the first one. Yeah. And Hookbill the Koopa.
And I feel like this is the first, like, he's very generic. He's just a Koopa, but what you do is you hit the head, and then he keeps like going up, and you have to keep hitting his head till he falls on his back, essentially, and then you have to butt slam on his stomach.
Yeah, and he can't get off his back. In World 5, you get Sluggy the Unshaven.
This is a guy where if you basically you keep hitting the there's like a heart in the center that you can see.
Yep.
But you have to keep hitting it with the egg, and he keeps getting deeper and deeper and deep. Like it keeps getting more exposed, and then finally you can hit it.
It's very creepy. What about Raphael the Raven also?
This is where this shit starts to get weird. Don't you go like up the top of some fucking thing and this guy's here?
Yeah.
Like I remember this guy.
In World 6, you get Tap Tap the Red Nose.
Which I never liked these spiky idiots. No good.
Well, who does? And Baby Bowser himself.
Okay, so I love the whole last sequence in this game. It's like really cool.
Okay.
So like basically you fight Baby Bowser, and I think he has like a vehicle of some kind or whatever.
Something like that.
And then you knock him out, right? And
Correct.
you think, oh, I won. And then like Kamek comes in and he's like, oh, no, you don't. And he makes him into like gigantic Bowser.
Big Baby Bowser.
This is like one of the craziest boss fights. Like basically he's like chasing you.
Yeah.
And Yoshi's kind of running towards the screen. This is all with the scalar effects. And you're shooting the eggs and you're having to like arc them and like hit him in the nose. Don't eventually you get like explosive eggs or some shit that like can like actually
giant
damage
eggs.
That's what it is. Yeah.
From the balloons, the Zeppelins.
Right. That like your allies start dropping. Like, hey, like use these instead. And, like fucking hit him. Like,
yep. That's what it is.
Yeah. And it is such. To me, it's actually like. For a game that's kind of goofy the whole way through,
it gets sinister.
It gets like almost epic. This final fight with him.
Well, that's one of the things that
it's pretty big.
Universally agreed that the final boss battle's amazing.
Yeah, it's like
game.
Really cool.
I think it beats Super Mario Worlds.
It does
by far.
Yeah,
it's a really good final.
It feels
boss
like it
battle.
has stakes. Like he's gonna just crush you. Like you're gonna die.
It's
like,
really well done.
Yeah.
And that's really the game. Again, we can't cover every enemy. We'll be here for like another hour and a half if we talk about every enemy and every little thing. We can't. What I do want to talk about too, Quinn, even though this is an audio podcast, is the graphics again. If they had not went that route, do you think this game would have been as good?
I don't. Because
either.
I think the look and feel is what makes this game special. Of a lot of the games in the Super Nintendo library, even though a lot of 2D games look good when they get older, there's a certain rigidness about Super Mario World in a sense. We have all this power to make the sprites, but we're not using all of it or something.
I can agree to that. Sure, I can agree.
But this game, on the other hand, feels like it's just pushing it to its limits to the point of it looks timeless.
And it's doing it in a way that's not what you would expect.
Right, it's so unconventional.
The hand-drawn, but mixing that with, we were talking about with, Bashful Biff or whatever the people are, using the Super FX chip to their advantage, but also with this rudimentary but beautiful art style. I think it's tremendous.
It's really good. I would say it's anything but rudimentary, though. It's creative.
It's supposed to look rudimentary.
It's trying to be, but it doesn't come off that way.
No,
it looks elaborate.
In a way, it's revolutionary for Nintendo. The other thing I wanted to talk about, too, because we haven't yet, and it'll be dropped in, the music, no surprise, Koji Kondo once again killed it with this soundtrack.
So its main map theme is, to me, what sticks out the biggest about it.
Yeah.
I thought what they did was really creative with this. So basically, when you go in, you got this da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it's super basic, right?
Very, very Nintendo.
Just very basic.
Yep.
You don't really think about it, right?
Correct. Yes.
Then you get to the next level, and you hear it, and you're like, this thing's different. You don't know what it is at first.
Yeah.
You're kind of it just sounds slightly peppier,
right.
And it's okay. And then you get to the next one again, and just slightly, and then by the time you get to because there's only 6 levels, I feel by the third is you're halfway through. You start to notice that they're adding instruments.
Yes.
And you're by the time you're in the last level, it's fucking glorious.
And that's just the map theme.
Yeah.
There's good level themes as well. The castle theme is good. Koji Kondo has a knack for composing very basic but infectious music.
Right.
He's so good at it. And this is another awesome performance. And again, you've heard some of it as we've been speaking.
And I'm
here.
assuming there's some DSP sound thing in this or something, because it is way better than World. The music,
it is.
Seems like the technology's better.
It is. I'm sure they were able to get more out of the system by 95.
Right.
Let's talk about the reception. Very, very good, the reception of this game. So first of all, over 4 million copies sold worldwide. But the reviews at the time were pretty much unanimous in their praise of this game. Even in 95, some were calling it one of, if not the greatest platform games ever made.
I want to say, I think it took reviewers by surprise, because I remember the build-up was who's going to play that?
I took a lot of people by surprise, Quinn.
It was really surprising how good, and it felt like a Miyamoto still got it moment.
100%.
You know what I mean? Because it felt so off the wall. Yeah. Everyone's they let him go too far. They didn't reel him in.
Crayons, what are we doing?
Yeah, it felt like when you were seeing the pictures of this, that this was the moment where the executives have to reel the creative in a little bit. He's getting a little too off.
A Howard Hughes moment, if you will.
Yeah, it's what the fuck is this shit?
What are you doing, guy?
Nobody actually wants this, right? But they were the naysayers were all wrong.
They said yay.
Yeah,
because the game's fucking good.
They became the yay-sayers.
They had to be the yay-sayers and the hay-sayers, because now the hay was not with the horses.
Seriously? Still with the hay, you dummy?
The artwork was singled out, obviously, as being incredible, as being different. The gameplay was praised. Mm-hmm. The sound design was praised. About the only thing that wasn't praised was Baby Mario's crying.
Yeah, so...
It's still a point of contention.
The people that would complain about, there was people that were, this was this yelling was so,
It is annoying, Quinn.
I know it's annoying, but I couldn't understand the people that I'm like, I'm never fucking playing this. The yelling, it's so bad. Like,
that's a little much.
People would say that. I would hear that from someone. It's like, that game stinks because of the yelling.
That's not bad.
And I'm like,
it's not a good reason.
Are you just like missing the rest of this game? It's fucking incredible.
Yeah, I mean, how about be good at it, and that won't happen that much.
It doesn't even happen that often.
If
like,
you're good, it doesn't.
Fairly simple.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel it has a balanced amount of difficulty, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sometimes it gets a little busy and he keeps getting knocked off you, but most of it's not about Mario getting knocked off you. It's a lot of it is like you fall in holes because you like you're trying to decide which direction to go with the floaty jump, and like you just die. You don't even like get a chance for him to fall off.
Just like real life, man. Let me ask you the $1 million question. Do you like this more than the first one?
It's hard. I feel like they're two different games. I feel like the first one's a more traditional Mario, but I feel like this is firmly one of the better spin-off Marios. And I know it's not officially a spin-off, but it kind of is.
It's close.
Like,
it's close to being that episode of All in the Family with Maude on it all the time.
I think this established that you could have a spin-off Mario game because...
Well, and Wario's...
Like
Wario
later, for example, in the modern terms, there's like... Mario 3D World, which is like kind of like it has some like overhead levels and stuff like that.
Paper Mario universe.
Yeah, like different types of Mario. It established that there could be a different type of Mario game.
Well, I think I like the first one more, but only because it came out first.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know how else to say it. Like, this is a damn good game. I didn't play it as much as Super Mario World.
This is one I've realized that like this one has a lot more staying power. It's because
I don't know, does it?
What I mean by that?
Yeah.
There's a lot of discovery in this game that's not in any Mario game, period.
Discovery, but Mario World has a lot of replayability with the 96 exits and all that.
It's not that they don't, but what I mean to say is that the way the levels are laid out in like a very big thing, like the levels have like multiple stuff to find.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So it's like, it really is hard to get everything on the first try.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. Folks, we're going to want to know what you think about this game. Do you like it more than Mario World? Do you like it more than any other Mario game? Or
this is a rare, I don't have like a preference.
You just think it's a great game, right?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people do. Retrospectively, it is viewed as a masterpiece. Mm-hmm. It is viewed as revolutionary in terms of some of the gameplay elements and the graphics. And tangibly, Quinn, it breathed yet again more new life into the Mario franchise, this time via Yoshi, into the Super Nintendo in late 95.
Yeah.
It kept Mario going almost improbably now, 10 years in on the consoles.
Unbelievable.
I think it's a hell of a game. It's worthy of praise. If you haven't played it in a while, folks, maybe fire up your old Super Nintendo or find another means to do so.
There's ways.
I think it's a great game, Quinn. And you know what's crazy is that we're at the crossing of the eras now.
Here we go. The next one's going to be big.
The next one's a big one, folks. We will be doing another Mario episode. Don't worry, it will be happening. However, next week will be something completely different.
Yes.
So don't even expect Mario next week, okay?
Yeah, no Mario next week.
Maybe Mario Lemieux or something. The hockey episode. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being with us here. We want to hear from you. Please follow us on Twitter at AWM Podcast. Join our Facebook group and leave us a review if you don't mind. One way or another, we'll be back next week. Until that time, thank you so much for being with us. As always, I'm Joe Murata. That's Michael Quinn, and we'll see you next time for more Acid Wash Memories.
See ya.
Like what you heard? Be sure to leave a review and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We will see you next week.